My name, you have been mentioned already. My name is Alamsyah Harahap, and then I start joining this foundation in 1986 after my father passed away, because actually this foundation had founded and developed by my father, and he passed away in 1986, and after that I have to not take over but replace his position, because there is no other choice. Yeah, not because of I want to, but it's sort of compulsory for the public, otherwise the institution will be going down, and then closing down. Yeah. So at that time, physically I didn't play quite much time in these schools or foundation, because at the same time I'm also a teacher in the university. In this case they call it sometimes lecturer, yeah, in the University of Bengkulu, in the other island, which is Sumatra. Yeah, I've been there since 1983. Yeah, therefore when I firstly replaced my father in 1986, I just able to do it formally, yeah, in the sense of administration, but practically and technically this foundation and school run by the headmasters and the foundation staff, like Pak Ahyar is a very important person in this foundation. And then in 2000, I think, early 2000 or 2001, when I just come back from Manchester, England, I decided to stay physically in this foundation and with the 5 schools. Yeah.
Now I want to ask you the next question. Okay, about English education that you have been learning, that I heard you learn from Manchester, University. Now, can you give us any suggestion about how to improve our English?
Studying about language, any language, including English, I think it can be done in many different ways. Not only formally through the education, but you could do it informally or non-formally. Yeah. Therefore, the fundamental things when you are studying a language, any language, the main point is using it. There's another word for that: practice. No other way. It's easy, cheap. You don't have to pay, right? If you go to school, you have to pay. If you go to the English course, you have to pay. But if you don't practice, although you go to school or although you go to the English course, you won't get anything, because you don't practice. So the point is practice. Now, the nightmare things, the frightening things for the learners of English, because they don't believe in themselves. They are afraid of themselves. Not because of others, but their own feelings. Therefore, how do we control our own self in learning or studying something, especially language in this case? Yeah. The key thing is, when you are studying or learning something, it's the time you make mistakes, not making the right things. If you are already right, you don't need to study. Stop your study. Right? That's the logic. Therefore, you don't have to be afraid then. When you're practicing your English, when you are studying your English. Why? Because we are asking to make mistakes. How come? Because through the mistake, we will know the right one. Does it make sense to you?
Yeah.
See?
Because nobody perfect.
Nobody perfect. That's another perspective. Yeah. But again, what is called by learning process, studying, basically that's your time to make mistakes. When you finish studying, try not to make mistakes anymore. Yeah?
Did you have some experience, maybe about funny moments or something when you teach the students?
The funny moment. Yeah, maybe too many for me experience. But let me think a little bit about.
That can you never forget it?
Yeah.
Forget it?
Local language will indicate someone coming from certain area, right? Like from my place, when they say, "I'm sorry, sir, this session is not comfortable." Yeah. That's because the influence of local language, which is Bataknese. Yeah? What is maybe he means or she means by comfortable. So there are many examples of that. So that's the funniest things happen. Usually all the class, anybody who is in a class will be laugh together and then start serious again.
What do you enjoy most about working with your students?
It's the time when my students are trying to be active, trying to show their self. Not only listening or waiting the teachers or the lecturers in this case to say something, but he's trying to sometimes he start with raising some question or even argue. Yeah. So when that kind of activities done by the student or created by the students in the class, that's the happiest time that I can feel, because at the time I can feel that my student with me.
How do you help a student who is having difficulty?
When teacher would like to deliver his or her material for their learners, they have to try every second about their learners, their students. Are they with me or not? If we realize that they are not with me, there must be something wrong there. Maybe it's too difficult to be understood, or maybe the material is too high, or maybe it's too boring. Yeah. So many things can be happen. Yeah. So when the teacher realizes that, we have to switch to move into different ways. Sometimes we have to break with intermezzo.
Your last job before you being the owner of Budhi Warman Foundation?
All right, I have been a lecturer or teachers before I participated into this foundation. As I said before, I started my professional job in 1983, and then in 1986 my father passed away, Therefore, I have to replace his responsibility in this foundation. So even until now, I'm still a lecturer in the University of Bengkulu.
What's your wishes for Budhi Warman School Foundation for next?
The mission.
Wishes.
Message for and wishes.
Yes.
Yeah, I call it obsession, yeah, or dreams. Yeah.
Dreams. Yes.
One of them I've mentioned already. I'd like to see most of my students, my children of Budhi Warman, be active and stay in school much longer, doing positive activities, enjoying all we have in the schools.